Hello, my name is Kara Warburton, and in this short tutorial I will show you how to add and modify terms in a terminology database. Now, for this tutorial we will be using a cloud-based terminology management system from Interverbum Technologies called TermWeb. Okay, so I have logged on to TermWeb and I have opened a database that I have called Kara Test. You can see that up here where it says dictionary. In this system, the terminology database is called a dictionary. I'm going to use this. It's an empty database that I created in the previous tutorial with very few number of fields. So to create a new term, you just click New here, and you are presented with the option to edit the concept level fields or to add a term. Now, I explained about the concept level and the term level in the previous tutorial where I showed you how to create this database. So let's just go straight to the concept level first. And okay, so the concept level has just opened, and you can see there are just a couple of fields here for this database. We only created a very minimal database in the last tutorial, so I can just start entering the information here. So here is a definition, and the only other field I have available is this customer, which is a multi-value pick list field, and the order shows the way it's an odd order, but that's because that's the way I defined the order in the database design. I can always go back to the database design and change the order of these fields. I can change anything else. I can create new fields, and I can even remove fields. The database design can always be changed. So here I have selected two values. I click Save, or you could have clicked that green check mark at the top of the screen. Now I can create the term. Click on Add Term, and here you add the term. Let's say laptop, computer. No, let's try just computer. Okay, and you select the language of your term. We only have 3 languages so far in this database. The part of speech, and you can see that there's an asterisk besides these 3 fields because you have to have a term if you go into a language. We're going into the language English. You can't just have an empty English section. So you have to have a term, you have to choose the language, and you have to choose the part of speech, because I made the part of speech a mandatory field in my database. It doesn't have to be mandatory. You can change that, but it was made mandatory when I created this database. And you can choose a term type here, but you don't need to. It's not mandatory. And I can add a context sentence. Let's say my computer was very expensive. Okay, when you're done, click the Save button at the bottom or the check mark, and now you can add another term. You could add another English term if there's synonyms, but it's not a very good example of English for English synonyms. But let me add a French term. Ordinateur, that's for French for a computer, and again I can choose these other fields. Okay, and then when you're done, click Save. And that is basically how you create an entry. So now you can see here we have our entry is listed in the navigation panel, and if I switch to French, we'll see ordinateur. As you can see. So you change your language up here, and you can do various other things, but I'm not going to get into all of that in this tutorial. There will be other tutorials for that. So if you want to edit this term now, you just select it, and when you select it, it appears in the right panel. Okay, and all the information is here, and then you decide which term. Right now the word ordinateur has been selected because that's what I clicked on. But if I'm not interested in changing that one, if I want to change the English term, just click on it in the entry so that it moves up to the top of the list of terms. And now when I click Edit, and when I click Edit Term, it will edit that term instead of ordinateur. So here we are. I could just change this to cheap or very, very inexpensive. Okay, click Save. And now if I want to also, I also want to happen to change the French term, I click it here in this screen on the right, and it moves to the top, and then when I click Edit Term, it will come up Ordinateur. So that's basically how it is. That's it. So I'll click Save here, and that is how you edit an entry. Now maybe I should create another entry and show you how to make a relation between them, if this is going to save here. Okay. Alright, so let's change the language back to English. Now let's say I want to create another entry, laptop computer. So click New, and edit concept level fields. Maybe I need a definition, a small computer, and I don't know if I need any customers right now. And then I will add laptop computer for English. Add term here. Make sure you choose the right language, because I think it uses it has the last language selected, the one you last used. So you make sure you change that back. Okay, laptop computer. And then I'll click Save here. Okay, and click Save again. Oh, I could have added a French term, but anyways, we've already seen that. So once we have these two terms in the database, actually before I clicked Finally Saved, I could have created the relation already, but I wanted to show you starting from the beginning. So now we have two terms in my database. Now suppose you want to indicate that a laptop computer is a type of computer. So we're going to have a broader, narrower concept relation between these two entries. So it doesn't matter which one you pick. You could just start with computer, let's say, go into Edit, and edit the concept level fields. And there is something here called relations. So here's where you add a relation between this entry and the other one. So we'll click Add Relation, and you can pick different types. Oh, I've got to get my screen to move back up here. Okay, you can pick different types of relations from the drop-down list, and I won't explain all the meaning of all these, but you can read up on those. This is a type of relation, so a laptop computer is a type of computer, right? So that's generic. Type of is generic. And here we have a chance to now create a relation, and we're going to search for the term, or we can select it from this list. If you had a very large database, this list might be overpopulated with terms, so you could just conduct a search and it would bring it up. But we can choose it from here since we have a very small list. So click that, and I chose subordinate instead of superordinate because this is a smaller concept. The laptop computer is a smaller concept than computer, so it is subordinate. And then once you're happy with that, you've picked the right entry, click Save, and then click Save again. You can see the relation is here, and I'll just show you how it looks in the previous screen, and save. Okay. Alright, and come on. Okay, so now you can see the entry. It's a little bit small here because I have a small window for this video, but anyways, there is this area called relations, and you can see that we have in this entry for computer, we have a relation, a generic relation pointing down to laptop computer, which is the narrower concept. And if I click on that, it will open it. I can also click on Show Graph, and it will show a graph of this. Oh, it's moving off the screen here. Let me see if I can move it down. There you go. This relation. Now, of course, this only shows two terms, but you can build a whole cloud of relations in this system, and I'll probably cover this particular aspect of the software in more detail on another tutorial. So that's that. How to create and edit entries, and that'll be all for today's tutorial. Please view some of the other tutorials that we have for you. Thank you and have a nice day.